Pro Tools has a variety of standard editing commands such as copy, cut, paste and clear. Now if I make a selection here and go to the edit menu, here they are, cut, copy, paste and clear. Now you'll see the shortcuts here. They're regular computer system shortcuts. For Mac they're Command X, Command C, Command V and Command B. For PC they would be Control X, Control C, Control V and Control B. You can apply these commands to part of a region or multiple parts of regions using the selector tool, or a whole region or multiple whole regions using the grabber tool. The effects of paste, duplicate and repeat vary depending on the edit mode being used. Now let's just have a quick look at this. I'm in relative grid. I'm going to make this selection. I have the selector tool here. Now Command C or Control C, and I'm going to go to measure 10 and apply Control V or Command V. Now if, for example, here I've got this in the clipboard memory, I'm going to go to shuffle mode and I'm going to place exactly at measure 9. I'm going to Command V or Control V, and watch the two new regions here skip to the right. So in shuffle mode, everything to the right of the region you're inserting will move by the length of the region you're inserting. Now if I just Command Z this, or if you're in America, Command Z, and I'm going to move to slip mode or relative grid. Now relative grid, they don't move, so here we are, Command C, I'm going to go to measure 9, Command V, and you'll see the regions to the right don't move. The same applies to slip. You can also, in spot mode, spot a copy. So to make a copy in spot mode, I'm going to use the grabber. I'm going to hit Option or Alt before I select the region, and then I'm going to insert the measure where I want this region to go and click OK, and it copies. You see this region here has been copied to measure 13. The clear command is fairly straightforward. It's Command B, so you select a region, Command B or Control B if you're on PC. You can also, with the selector tool, select an area. You'll notice I've selected just half a region here, and Command B, it'll just erase or delete that region or part of region. So I'm going to clear everything. Now let's look at the duplicate command. So if I select a region, I can duplicate this region, and this is Command D here. That's a quick way to run down regions down a track. Or I can use a part of a region. Here we are. I'm going to go into the grid mode just so I've got a full measure. And here, Command or Control D, and you can go down the track and duplicate the region. So what is duplicate? Duplicate duplicates a selection directly after that selection. So just to reinforce that, if I made a selection within a region and hit Command D or Control D, it'll repeat that selection directly after its boundary. And duplicate is in the edit menu. Down here you've got Control D or Command D, duplicate. Let's look at the repeat function. Option R if you're on a Mac, Alt R if you're on a PC. First of all, let me just erase all this. Here we go. And I'm going to select one bar and Option R or Alt R, and here you can say, okay, I want to repeat this selection 8 times. Again, you can repeat a part of a region or a whole region. Let's now look at Pro Tools specific editing commands. The first one we're going to look at is capture region. The capture region command basically puts the selection into the region list. So let's make a selection on the snare and go to region, capture. Now that's Command R or Control R if you're on a PC, and a name comes up. So this would be, say for example, snare fill. And you'll notice that the region doesn't separate, and here if we go down to the snares, let's have a quick look at the here we have snare fill. So we can bring this back into the, there we go, it's a little small here, back into the edit window as a snare fill. The next command we're going to look at is the separate region command. You can separate a region into 2 or more regions for different editing purposes. So here the selector's at measure 11. I go into edit, separate region, at selection. You'll notice it's Command E or Control E if you're on PC. I'm going to undo that and make a selection, for example here, and use Command E or Control E if you're on PC, and you can now, for example, Alt or Option to copy, and I can copy that new region to another part of the song. There are 2 other ways to separate regions. If I was to go to edit, separate region, on grid or at transients. So first of all, let's look at on grid. I'm going to make this selection here, and my grid is going to be quarter notes. And now if I go edit, separate region, on grid, it'll create quarter note regions, and I have a pre-separate amount. So I'm going to just nudge forward by about 5 milliseconds, which means now my cut here is 5 milliseconds before each quarter note. I'm just going to undo that selection here, and let's have a look at the last separate region, which is separate region at transients. So each snare here has a fairly strong transient. Again, I have the pre-separate amount of 5 milliseconds, and if I click OK, it's going to cut here on each transient. So now I can take one snare drum. This is useful if somebody's missed a snare drum at one area. You can take one snare. I'm going to go Command C, and I'm going to tab forward across bar lines, across region boundaries, and now Command or Control V, and replace this snare with this one. Now the last function we're going to look at is heel separation. So I'm going to erase a couple of regions. Now I'm going to make my selection across this area here, which was one region, and now I'm going to go to edit, heel separation, and it reconstitutes the original region. This only works if none of the elements within this area have moved. So let me undo this. For example, if I was to move this here and then make the selection again, heel separation, it'll only heal the areas here where the regions didn't move. So to recap, the standard functions are in the edit menu, cut, copy, paste and clear. They work differently depending on the modes that you use, shuffle, spot, slip or grid. After that, we had a look at specific Pro Tools functions. The first one was in the region menu. That was when you